You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Hey, welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Erin. Today I am flying solo as Elizabeth had an emergency that she had to take care of at her house. But I am really excited about my guest today. I have Margot Grant Witz, who is the vice president of Elizabeth Grant Skincare, a third generation family owned Canadian beauty company founded in 1948. Like, talk about having lots of years of experience. But under her leadership, Elizabeth Grant Skincare continues to develop innovative, science-driven skincare solutions while remaining true to the brand's heritage of helping women feel confident and comfortable at any age, which is definitely something we're all about here at Estrogen Dropouts. She is a passionate advocate for women's empowerment and pro-aging beauty. She is also committed to advancing skincare and innovation while honoring the remarkable legacy of her grandmother, Elizabeth Grant. So welcome, Margot. I'm so excited to have you. As a skincare junkie myself, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today.
And I'm thrilled to be here. And full disclosure, every time you mentioned Elizabeth, I'm like my grandma. So hi, Elizabeth from afar. I can't wait to meet you another time as well.
Yes, exactly. I know. You're like, wait, my grandmother or Elizabeth, the co-host? Yeah, I love the name Elizabeth, actually. It's one of my favorite names. And I love that your grandmother started this in 1948. What a legacy to have. And like, she had to be way ahead of her time when she did this.
She wasn't just way ahead of her time. She didn't mean to do this. She was a makeup artist in Elstree Studios, and it was in London, England, and she was working on all the fabulous celebrities at the time, of the Hollywood A-listers. And unfortunately, during World War II, she was on a street with her girlfriend just going for a little shop, and a V2 bomb blast went off on a couple streets over. And she suffered from shrapnel damage in the left side of her skin. And all she wanted to do was go back to work. And all she wanted to do was feel comfortable and confident, not just in what she was looking at, but being the independent woman that she was growing herself into. And so she always felt that if she didn't look the part of a beautiful woman, how could she make other people feel beautiful? And so she just went on a mission to fix her skin. And it was an interesting story that one day she went into the doctor's office, who painstakingly removed every single piece of shrapnel from her skin, because every day she would show up and say, is there something for me? Like, can you fix something for me now? And he went to go see a patient, and she picked up a medical journal, because her whole joke was there wasn't a Vogue magazine in the doctor's office during that time. And the term war wound jumped out. She always believed her father was looking out for her, and her father passed away when she was 7. So she scribbled it down, the term that she saw. And as soon as she scribbled it down and put the piece of paper in her pocket, the doctor came back and said, those words are too big for you. You wouldn't understand, and closed the book. And it was at that time that she just said, what do I have to lose? And she went to her friend and said, have you heard about this? And they said, yeah, it's a topical treatment that they use on the front lines of the soldiers on the way to the hospital to reduce the burns. She said, will you make it for me? And her friend said, no, it won't do anything for you. And my grandmother said, that's such a lovely opinion, but I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked if you would make it for me. And she actually lovingly created the very first serum on the market ever for the at-home beauty use. And the next serum that came out after my grandmother's, which we lovingly call the Essence of Trislam, our #1 selling product, came out in 1982 from another brand. So she launched in 1948 to see almost another 40 years go by till someone else said, hey, maybe this is a good idea.
How interesting. Okay. So she basically, it was born of necessity. She wanted to like repair
She wanted to
the
love what she
damage.
saw. She wanted to look in the mirror and say, I really like what's looking back at me, which I think is a universal, ageless truth, that women look in the mirror and just want to love what they see.
You're so right. And this is an interesting conversation that I just had with my middle son's girlfriend. She sent me a picture, or my son sent a picture of the both of them in the same place in New York City. They weren't together, and it's 10 years apart that they were in front of this particular like tourist
monument tourist thing. Yeah,
tourist attraction. I know I lost my words for a minute. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, look at baby Hannah. And she was like, I don't know why I thought I was so ugly back then. And it's always that we, we pick ourselves apart always. So I love the fact that a mission of yours is helping women to, not only look beautiful, but to feel beautiful. So, this is, I think, especially an important conversation for our listeners who most of are probably either perimenopausal, postmenopausal, somewhere in that range. And I know that there's a lot of changes that happen in our skin as we have fluctuating and then declining hormones. So, talk to us a little bit about how this time period can affect the skin's, like the firmness of our skin, the elasticity, the hydration, all of those things that make our skin youthful.
Oh, that bounce, that trampoline. So it's funny because everyone goes, "Oh, you start losing collagen in your 30s. You don't start losing collagen in your 30s. You start noticing the lack of collagen in your 30s. You start noticing, looking in the mirror, I'm not as firm, I'm not as tight, and what about this, and what about that? Because of all the noise around us, because of all of the instant gratification, social, filters, edits, all of the things. And so what's happening with our skin is what's interesting is women's bodies physically go through a form of puberty every 4 years. Our bodies change. Our hips change. The laxity in our skin changes. The firmness changes. What we're balancing with changes ultimately, both good and bad, right? And so what happens when you're sort of perimenopausal or menopausal is that's when the air is completely out of the balloon. The air is completely out of the tire. Like it's been slowly seeping 25, 35, 45. But it's when we're in our 40s that women specifically start going, ooh, maybe I'm too old. And that's what we've been told, that over the age of 40, women are meant to somehow disappear, quiet down. You can see it all the time in Hollywood based on the actresses that play moms and daughters. But what's happening with our skin is the fibers are breaking down. Like men's skin is physically thicker. So that's why we're like, oh man, you age like a fine wine, because the skin isn't as thin as women's skin. And so what happens, everything that's happening under the skin, which is deflating faster, that is sinking faster, that based on habits that we have done our whole life. I mean, who doesn't open their mouth when they're putting on mascara? Who doesn't lift their eyes when they're at the car? That we forget that every movement we do to our face, the pulling, is actually what's breaking down the structural collagen underneath the skin. And there's a lot of things that can be done to help the ecosystem, to sort of stop the depletion of the leak that is happening, because it happens. So it comes from what we're eating, what we're drinking, how we're treating, but more so, I always will say this, how we feel about our skin, how we feel and how we speak to ourselves about our skin is actually also how we see how our skin is aging. So when you're looking at yourself and you're going, ugh, I hate these lines and these lines. When do these lines happen? And when did I get this jowl? And I have the marionettes. And what do I do? Right? And you forget marionettes are because you smile. Crow's feet because you're laughing. The jiggle, jaggle here is usually because we're so focused on not just taking care of our forehead to our chin, but we forget that when we're bending our neck, how we sleep as well creates that looseness. And so the one thing you said is hydration. And I love that you said that, because I think people sort of discount the power of what a hydrated skin can do for you. Because the difference between a grape and a raisin is dehydration. But people go, I drank 3 liters of water, so it's perfect. When really your skin, being your largest organ, is the last place that the hydration goes. It goes to your organs, it goes to your blood, it goes to your hair, it goes to your cells, it goes to everything else. So your skin needs that extra love much more than I think people give it credit for.
So just drinking enough water isn't enough to give you the hydration that you need.
Not one bit, because it evaporates. All those beautiful pores on your body is your skin filter, right? It filters the good, it filters the bad, but it lets your skin breathe. The difference is your skin has to breathe in and out. So anything that you're thinking is internally will evaporate from the external environment.
I had never really thought about it like that. I mean, I do think that, you can tell when somebody is dehydrated because their skin will definitely show it. So I guess just being hydrated enough for your organs, I guess, isn't enough for your skin, which is kind of like just definitely kind of blowing my mind because I've always kind of just thought, I mean, I know you sweat and all that. And I mean, I do know that
Yeah.
like you can't absorb water on your skin into your skin, you know?
No, you would drown if that was the case. If you had a bath or a shower or a swim, you would physically drown.
That is true. Or you'd end up just soggy. I mean, like,
You'd be like, why am I so wet? And I think women who are perimenopausal or menopausal, they're like, I'm good. My skin is flushed enough. I don't need any more moisture externally.
that is true. Hot flashes. Woo. Well, so why do you think it is that so many women find that their skincare routines aren't working as well when they're in, this midlife time? Like like some people are like, I have friends that started, their mom took them to the Clinique counter when they were, 16 to get their skincare. And they've been using the same skincare since they were a teenager. And then all of a sudden, and it worked for years. And all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. I mean, this isn't working anymore.
Yeah, because you kind of go bland. You sort of go, in a way, sort of sensory blindness is a real thing, right? So if you use the same thing every single day, there's nothing that sort of revs or kicks up a different aspect to your skin, right? So the way I can explain it is just using the concept of makeup, right? How we're applying makeup on our skin when we're in our 20s and 30s is very different to how we're applying makeup in our 40s, 50s, 60s. Not just the physical makeup that we're using, but also if you're putting blush on your cheeks, everything sinks down. So you want to lift up. That's the whole different kind of aspect with makeup. It's the trick of the eye. So if you're using the same thing every single day, your body recognizes it and doesn't give it a kickstart to say, maybe something else would be better. So for example, using the conversation of retinol. I love retinol. Everybody should have retinol. Obsessed with retinol. Retinol, okay? You start out with retinol. Maybe it's 2%. And you go, whoop, it's a little tingly. That's a little spicy. But you used it for 21 days and that 2% isn't spicy anymore. It's because your body's used to it. You've built up a tolerance. You've built up a resilience. You've built up a conversation. So you go up to 5%. And you go, is that spice again? I need that little spice. I need that little pepper. And then you use it for 21, 28 days, 3 months. And you go, that spice doesn't feel that spicy anymore. So you go, okay, I'm going to go up to 10. And it's a conversation that your skin no longer is recognizing the same level of ingredients. So my mother is obsessed with changing up your skincare so that you can never keep your skin in the position that it always thinks it is. And for example, if you're somebody with a dehydrated skin in winter, you might not be using a lighter weight skincare cream in winter because you want something a bit more emollient, a bit thicker, a bit richer for your skin to really get that locked and loaded because of the heat that may be around you from inside your home or the cotton sheets that absorbs all the moisture. But in the summer, you might not want to be using that thick, heavy cream because you feel like your skin can't breathe. So as much as we change up our clothes for the season, change up our diets for what we're eating, it's the same with your skincare. It's nice to keep your skin a little bit unexpected for it to tell you whether they like the ingredient or it doesn't like the ingredient, because your skin is always talking to you. And also to let you know if you're seeing the improvement and the difference that you're hoping to see. Because if you don't change something, you don't really know if it's going to help you achieve what you're hoping for. And it can be said with anything. It can be said with the gym. It can be said with our closets. It can be said with what we're wearing or what we're eating. Everything else is allowed to change and almost expected to change in our world, except our skincare.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, that was the first thing I was thinking of was the gym. If you just go and do the same thing every time, you're going to feel sore, initially, and you're going to be like, oh, yes, I really use those muscles. But if you don't either change up your routine, add more weight or what have you, then you hit a plateau and you're not sore anymore. So that's interesting that skincare is the same way. Well, you're speaking about retinols, and those basically just stimulate cell turnover, right?
It helps stimulate cell turnover. It helps to clean your skin. It helps to remove the level of hypopigmentation, especially, for example, a polyhydroxyic acid, which is exceptional for sun-damaged cells. So retinol is genuinely, legally something to be said. And why I say legally is because in the world of skincare, you always have to be able to substantiate your claims. Retinol, legally, we can say, and everyone can say, will make you look younger because it does. It stimulates collagen. It stimulates your amino chains that lead to the building blocks to support that collagen structure. But it also clarifies. It's your deep clean. It's your stimulus for your skin to react and respond. So if it's tingling on top, your skin also goes, something's happening. I have to send more cells to protect that area so it doesn't collapse. It is the most incredible, phenomenal ingredient there is. And not all retinols are created equal. There's retinase, there's retinoids, there's retinols, there's retinals. So it's important that you know what you're hoping to achieve when you're using a retinol and do a little bit of research to what works well for you, because there's so many different ingredients in that family that can be amazing for your skin and maybe not so great for your best friend or your sister. And that's what I think is so interesting, is our skins are our own ecosystem.
Well, so how will you counter the getting used to the retinols or retinols or retinoids or whichever one you're using? How do you, if you're using a something, how do you keep from getting to that point where,
Plateau.
you plateau?
So what's interesting about retinol is it goes from 0.5% all the way up to 80%. It's a really incredible ingredient. Yeah, you can't buy an 80%. No one can buy it. But you go to a dermatologist and you're like, I want a retinol treatment. And they will bring out vials in front of you and be like, okay, today we're going to do this. And we have a plan. So if you're not seeing the results, because what's so interesting is with a retinol, you will see a result sort of almost immediately on your skin, 24 to 48 hours. You might feel it instantaneously as well, because it can be spicy little feeling. And so if you're feeling that spice and you don't like it, your skin should never be red or raw or aggressive with an at-home treatment. This is a very big special PSA I say to people. If you're using a product at home, not under a medi-spa, not under a licensed esthetician, not under a dermatologist or plastic surgeon, and you're getting a spicy redness irritation, it is not right for your skin. Stop immediately and walk away. It should never hurt to work. But if you're hoping to explore a plateau on your skin, I would definitely speak to a licensed professional about a plan that they can give you for a specific prescription
Okay.
for your skin, because they will. It could be tretinoids, it could be Tretin-A, it could be anything as what will work for you and the right amount of dose. Because when I tell you, I'm just going to show you, sometimes for retinol, this one tiny dot is all you need for your entire face.
Okay.
And so people, if they're just excited about it, learn about it and talk to somebody before you dive in thinking you're the expert, because I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still learning.
Okay, so when you use a retinol, does it damage your skin barrier? Because I know there's lots of talk nowadays around skin barrier integrity, that, tretinoins, things like that damage the skin barrier when you should be supporting the skin barrier. So is there a way to safely use a retinol or a tretinoin, something that does maybe quote unquote damage your skin barrier and still keep the integrity of your skin barrier?
100%. You use it at night. So a lot of people turn around and they go, I'm going to use this all the time, because if I use it all the time, then it's going to work faster. No, use it at night. It's the best time for your skin. You're not exposing. So the reason why it can damage your skin barrier isn't just the ingredient. It's how the ingredient fights with the outside.
Okay.
Like the environment, the sun, the wind, the atmosphere, the smog, the pollution, right?
Okay.
And so at night, the best time you can do is put it on. And I love a serum for it, because you wait a few seconds, 30 seconds, and then you can put on your most delicious cream that you want on top of it. So you don't have that barrier breakdown as much as you think it is, because all that's happening is, it's almost like, how do I say it? It's like someone's ahead of you and making the path, right? So they're tunneling for you. The retinol's tunneling. It's getting rid of the dead skin cells, the buildup, the dirt, the debris, and then your ingredients following with the creams or chasing forward, being like, amazing. I now have a clear surface I can use.
I heard somebody say recently, it was a dermatologist, I think, on IG, just happened to see a reel. He said, use the sandwich method, use a moisturizer or a serum, then use a retinol or a, tretinoin, and then use a really good moisturizer.
Yeah.
So that way, I guess, okay, so that can help minimize it. Well, I know that one of the things that we were going to talk about was PDRN, in parentheses, sodium DNA, as an innovative skincare ingredient. I've never even heard of this ingredient. And I consider myself definitely a skincare junkie. Like, I'm always like looking at new ingredients and trying to stay on top of, like the vampire exosomes and all of this kind of stuff. So this is not something that I'm familiar with. So tell me and our listeners what that is.
So I don't want to be crude, but you have heard of it. But you have heard of it in a different package. And the different packages, have you heard about the salmon sperm facial?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
okay.
PDRN. So that is what PDRN. It is a huge protein that allows something outrageous like 16,000 peptides to be able to transport into your skin depending on the ingredients and the aspects and what a peptide is. And everyone's like, oh my God, a peptide. But no one goes, wait, 1 second. What's a peptide? Peptide
Right.
is a level of short chain amino acids that feed your
Right.
collagen, that lead to your structure, that lead to reweaving the basket, restrapping that bra strap so the girls are high. So what I call PDRN is the ultimate push-up bra for your face. The straps are always firm. The cups are always high and the girls are always standing to deliver. And so what it's doing is it's topically helping to create a better synergistic relationship between the collagen production in your skin and the collagen depletion of your skin. And how that happens is it sort of goes to the weakest points and gives it a life jacket. And says, let me just lift you back up, collagen. Let me just feed you so you have the time to heal. Let me feed you so you have the time to repair. And so instead of just chucking it out and saying, okay, dead cells, you're gone, PDRN is synergistically working in cohesive collaboration with your natural production of collagen to best support the trampoline.
Okay. I have heard of the salmon. I've heard it called something, not salmon sperm, but something else.
You've heard it be much more polite. Yes.
Yeah. But no, I mean, hey, listen, we always use the correct term for body parts, body fluids on this podcast. We're not scared of saying the word sperm.
Yeah.
But, okay. So can it just penetrate your skin if you put it on topically, or do you have to have like a microneedling?
Well, you can listen, anything you do
like a microneedling damage.
You definitely, so you can put it on topically and it will go because it's very synergistic to what your skin is already recognizing. So a very interesting way is, for example, skin grafting. The best way for someone to heal after a burn is with a salmon skin, and it's put onto their burn structure in order to make it a healing ability to regenerate. So it is a mimicked understanding about a natural regenerative process. Topically, yes, your skin will recognize it. If you do dermabrasion, microneedling, or a little pathway to get it, it's a beautiful benefit because it alerts the inside of your skin that it needs to also repair. So I love the same conversation of always having a sandwich approach to skincare. Is there something that you can digest internally as well, like omega-3s that are helpful? Of course there are. But this isn't something that you have to do in conjunction with something else to get the benefits. It just cranks up the volume as much as you do.
Okay, well, so now I'm going to have to get some of y'all's product that has PDR in it, because I'm like, I want something that's going to start giving my skin a life jacket.
I know someone who can help.
I bet you do. Good. Well, so I know that, it's all just, everyone is always talking anti-aging. That's just, everybody is against aging, I guess, or trying to look for ways to not age. But a little bit more about like skin health and the resilience at every age. Like, what should somebody be doing in their 20s, 30s, 40s? What should somebody be concentrating on in their younger years and then as they age?
So I kind of think this is a universal, every decade, every age you can have. Number one, clean your face properly, regularly, not with wipes. Makeup wipes don't break up the makeup. They just smear it around and you're not doing a good clean. If you're not doing a good clean, nothing you do to your skin, nothing you put on your skin will ever be great. So get a great cleanser that you can appreciate consistently to use. SPF, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, will be your best friend. It will always help take care of you. My grandmother dragged me out of the sun when I was 17 in front of all of my friends. And I used to be the tanner that would like go with the sun, the shadows behind me. I'm like, okay, I'm in the right place.
Yes.
And my grandmother dragged me out of the sun. She said, you can age how you want to age, or you can age how Mother Nature wants you to age. It's your choice, because under the sun is like cooking a piece of chicken. That's all you're doing. And you sort of forget that. I think everybody thinks old is 10 years older than you are right now, versus understanding how great of a runway you have. And this whole conversation of anti-aging bothers me a lot. And the only reason why it bothers me is it's such a privilege to grow older. It's such a privilege to be able to have the opportunity to complain, because the opposite of aging is you're not here to complain about it. And so I think what's also interesting is how we treat our face, whether it's moving, right? This is what breaks down collagen. We're rubbing our eyes, we're lifting things, we're training our skin of the lack to make that breakdown of collagen and giving that just droop because of our behavior, right? It's also how we speak to ourselves. So if you're looking in the mirror every morning, you go, ugh, I just look blah. Do something about it. Don't be a martyr for something you don't love in the mirror. What do you want to look like, and how are you going to get there? Because we have this conversation that we romanticize the past. I was the gawkiest looking teenager in the world. I had my ugly duckling moment. We glowed up, thank goodness. But I'll never be in my 20s again. I'll never be in my 30s again. I'm in my 40s. What a blessing, thank goodness. But how you show up to yourself is also how you're consistently talking to yourself. And so I say, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, you're going to get older. And that's nothing to sneeze about. Nothing to be scared about. Enjoy it. If someone says, oh, you're too old, you're too much, you're too this, great, go find less. Remove yourself from that version, because anything you put on your skin is going to be great as long as you're doing something. And then, of course, don't be ashamed if you want to go speak to somebody. And I'm talking a dermatologist, plastic surgeon, an esthetician about learning about your skin and what you're hoping to achieve. But if you are going to a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon, try not to get reflective blind, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of people can be very heavy-handed without knowing it, right? And so the most interesting thing that came out of the study recently was the hyaluronic filler that was going in everybody's faces and how it moved. And so a lot of people didn't understand this concept of pillow face until they put someone under an MRI. And because hyaluronic acid does not break down. It does not disappear from your skin. It's always there, and it always is absorbing more and more moisture around it. So I think it's important to know there is no such thing as a quick fix. A facelift lasts for 10 years if you're lucky. I think if you're luckier, you get to be 103 like my grandmother, and you get to look back at a life to say, okay, I have some wrinkles. I don't look like I'm the 20-year-old that people wanted to squish the tush of. But I think it's important to sort of appreciate how you change. Like, I can't fit into jeans that I fit into in my 20s because my body is physically different, right? And I think we give ourselves, the only time I think women give yourself grace is when you're physically pregnant. And then after you're pregnant, it's when are you going to bounce back? When are you going to get your body back? Versus you were just saying, oh my God, I'm so good. I'm too skinny to be this pregnant. I look so good. You look so good for 8 months, you know? It's this weird space that's the only time you're allowed to be in. Then what's around us and the noise that's around us, what's beautiful, what's in, what's out, what's inclusive, what's exclusive, what shape is perfect. Like, the body movement that was so passionate a few years ago, it's gone. It's completely gone again. So I think the same way that we hit a plateau with our skincare, we hit a plateau in how we speak to ourselves. And I think if you could carve out a space where you speak to yourself nicer, there's tons of products. There's anything that you want to do to put on topically. But I will also say, other than a great cleanser, other than a great SPF and consistently using the right products, is having a glycolic acid or a retinol in your repertoire, because it's brilliant. It's a brilliant vehicle to make sure that your skin is pushing itself to the best limits that it can.
Well, I want to circle back to your grandma and the sun. I grew up in Florida and then South Georgia. And I think I was about 28 and I went, maybe 26. I went into one of the big box stores and they happened to have the SPF. I forget if it was like Neutrogena, but they had this camera that you could, the
Yeah.
phototherapy or photo, whatever. And they took a picture of me, in this camera and showed it to me with all the damage because I grew up going to the beach all the
Mhm.
time. Just, when you live in the South, the sun is, it's out there.
You're there. Baby oil, aluminum. Let's go.
Well, that changed I was like, oh my gosh, like I still have that picture. It's 30 years old and I have kept it because it is, and my friends make fun of me. They call me because if I go on girls trip, I wear a hat, I wear a cover up, I stay under an
I love
umbrella.
that.
I refuse to get sun. And I have two good girlfriends that they're always like, we're going to lay out at the pool. Do you want to go? And I'm like,
Perfect.
no.
No, I'm good.
I do get some sun. I mean, I allow my skin to see some sun for vitamin D
Of
production,
course.
but I just refuse to tan. And I don't use self tanner. I probably should because my legs are super pale. But I love that your grandmother, she was ahead of her time, obviously. I mean, she sounds like a remarkable lady on so many levels, but that she was telling you before it became probably super well known how damaging, that I've just read something that 80% of your aging is environment, not from your genetics.
Nope. I always say genetics get you to the door and then the environment takes over.
Yeah. So then the other thing I wanted to say is I love how you're talking about how it's how you talk to yourself. And that is the one thing I think that I was trying to kind of say when I was having the conversation with my son's girlfriend is that, because I'll look back at like at the time the picture was taken and I'm picking it apart. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
look at this, look at that, look at this.
Look at this bulge. Oh my gosh, I'm too fat. I'm not this. Why am
Exactly.
I all of it?
And when
And
I
then you
look at
fast
pictures
forward.
from 10 years ago, I'm like, man, I look good.
What was I complaining about?
Yes. Like,
Exactly.
why didn't I,
Why didn't I
appreciate
appreciate this body more or shake it more or flirt more because I look good? Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but
So
what's interesting is where you are now. It's the same thing that's going to happen 10 years from now.
But I have been really working on trying to just not in a cocky way, not like, oh, I look good, but I am trying desperately to make my 50s about just loving myself, like just, really just focusing on the positives because when I do, I mean, in all honesty, when you were talking about lines and smile lines and marionette lines, I always tell Elizabeth, I hate when I try to make sure when we start an episode of the podcast for people that haven't watched the videos, you can watch full videos on YouTube of us. I try to make sure that I'm smiling because then you don't see my marionette lines because that is the first thing I see. And I'm like, who is that angry old lady in the mirror or in the picture? And it's me. It's me. So I am trying to be less focused on my flaws and more focused on all the things that, I can
Make you
say,
you.
yeah, like talk about like, less about the physical attributes and more about like, I'm a good person. I try to, always be kind or whatever it is.
Of course.
So,
But I'll let you know something. You have a lot of women who look at you and go, God, I wish I looked like her. God, I wish I had that smile. I wish I looked like that. And it's the most interesting thing that we're always looking externally to complement what we think someone else has, when that person is probably looking at us saying, I wish I had what she's having. I wish I had that confidence. And it's the conversation where we're able to sort of share and commiserate what we don't love, that we see how much someone either wishes that they have or they feel the same way. And so the conversation about those marionettes, the irony is these come from smiling as much as they come from frowning, right? So you're kind of like, well, which side of the coin do I want? Do I want to be that happy, great person? Of course. And I always say that there are moments where we are today that we prayed to be. And then we never take the time to appreciate the blessings that we asked for. until we go, well, I wish the next one, and why not this, and why not that? So I think that being friendlier to ourselves, people always talk self-love, blah, 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 blah. But the very last person you think about before you go to bed is you. I'm so tired. What a long day. This is what I have to do tomorrow. The very first person you think about in the morning is you. Your alarm goes off and goes, oh, I just wish I had 5 more minutes. And then all the other things happen. All the other momming stuff happens, especially for moms. Gosh knows for moms. But I wish that we could have the same conversation of kindness that we have for our best friends and for our daughters and for your son's girlfriend, because it goes really, really far internally for yourself. And I swear to restructure how your cells are aging. I swear. People who are happy just have this beautiful glow about them. And that doesn't mean happiness is perfection. That doesn't mean we're not entitled to a bad day or a bad mood. But there's something about being kinder to ourselves and understanding that everything that we're feeling, all the pressures that we have externally, everything that is quote unquote wrong or broken or has always been told to us, right? Like the first hysterectomy was based on women being hysterical when really there was nothing wrong with them at all. So I think it's important to sort of remember you should change your environment if you want to change your reflection.
Yeah, you have the control. I love it. Talk to me about your upcoming event, If Not You, Then Who? Tell me all about that. I know that's coming up in June this month.
It's coming up June 17th of this month. And it's the question that I love to answer and ask. Why does your internal yes mean less than someone's external no? And women have this feeling of pressure all the time, the silent pressure that we can't do it. We can't keep up. We can't do enough. We have to do this. I'm not good enough if I don't do that. I work too much. I don't work enough. I have kids. I don't have kids. I'm a good friend. I'm not a good friend. I'm there. We have all of these pressures while trying to keep up with being who we want to be. And so it's an incredible panelist of women of very many different generations. We have, myself included and 4 others, with Jeannie Becker, who is the face of fashion. She's 75 years young, and she's never compromised who she is to be where she wants to go. I find that remarkable. I find that little pillar of strength inside. It's like, how did you not give up on your own lighthouse? Because you are your own lighthouse in the storm. And then we have Taylor Kay, who is also in media. She's in radio for the past 30 plus years. She has her own personal story where with her husband had a health complication. She became the breadwinner while raising 3 incredible girls, while still working, while still being. And how did you not lose yourself? And then to the 2 younger gals who we have on the panel, Bryce Gruber and Danny Kagan, different ages as well. Bryce, she started this incredible life because she was a single mom. And she couldn't give up. And she grew and grew and grew. And she never allowed people to tell her that her ideas were wrong. Or maybe that people said it, but she didn't listen. And Danny was able to pivot to something that was beautiful from being this external dancer of the Raptors, which is the Toronto basketball team, to an incredible fashion entrepreneur and tech entrepreneur. And so the question really is, how are you going to be able to tap into your own fight song, your own piece de la resistance, your own white noise where you hear everyone else trying to drag you down? Because as great as women are, I think a lot of women become crabs in a bucket to each other. We see someone else go and go, nope, we got to pull her down, versus saying, you have a beautiful crown. Let me just straighten it a bit, because I think all women have incredible crowns. I think we are all spectacular human beings. And so my grandmother always grew up teaching me, you're going to get a hell of a lot of no's in life. And when it comes to sexual ethics and sexual morality, no means no. I will make that preference.
Yeah.
But you just need one yes, you know? And sometimes those no's in business don't mean no, it just means not now. But women quite often hear no and go, okay, yeah, it was dumb. I shouldn't have tried. So the concept of the event is your yes is outstanding and your place is exactly where you want it to be. And so if anybody's trying to pull you down, you got to leave that room, because you deserve to be in a room that's more suited for you.
So this is in Canada, right?
It is in Canada. We're also streaming it so people can watch it online.
Okay.
So there will be an event link on Elizabeth Grant on our Instagram and our Facebook page, so EG Skincare, and of course with a newsletter coming out from Elizabeth Grant Skincare with the direct link of that night. And I'm so excited. I am so excited to help women listen to that little voice inside, crank up their own dance party of whatever their internal song is, and just walk out holding their head a bit higher and being able to hit replay to say, yes, my yes is the perfect place to begin.
I love that. Well, so tell us, so they can find it on your Instagram, which is EG Skincare.
Yeah, EG Skincare. It's going to be June 17th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So we're going to be streaming it, and we're going to also be following up. If you're like, oh my goodness, I missed the event, it will live on our YouTube page. It will live on our events page on elizabethgrant.com, and it will continuously go everywhere that I want it to go, because I think every single woman around the world deserves to know at any age, at any stage, you are the most incredible person and being that you're meant to be.
Well, I'll make sure I link to all of your socials and
Thank
your
you.
website so that people can find it easily, because I know that I'll definitely be watching it for sure, because that's right up my alley. Well, before we close, I wanted to ask you if you had one product that you guys
Yes.
make that is your absolute, that everyone should like have in their skincare little toolbox.
Arsenal.
Yes.
I
or
will.
both.
I always mention 2 for people, but I will keep it to 1.
No, you can mention 2. Tell us
Amazing.
2.
2. I love it. Thank you so much. So here it is. It's the essence of Trissom. This is what repaired my grandmother's skin. Although back in the day it was like this big, from
Yeah.
bomb blast damage in the 40s. This is hypoallergenic, fragrance-free, mineral oil-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, alcohol-free, suitable for all ages, all skin types. All you need is 1 to 2 pumps for your entire face and neck. And you don't
Okay.
have to check out what you're using. And why I say that is quite often people get intimidated by using a new product because you're like, well, I just bought this face cream. I just bought this serum, and I don't really want to. This slips in seamlessly. She's like, girl, I got you. And when we sent this way for clinical trials in a third-party blind study, 100% of every single study participant, every single person, saw an improvement in their skin hydration, an improvement in their skin firmness, an improvement in their skin elasticity, an improvement in their skin radiance, and a decrease in their wrinkle depths within 28 days. And like, it's not like, oh, I wash my face, I get a fright because everything goes down the drain. This physically restructures how your skin believes it's aging. So if you're worried that you're getting the air out of the tires and the collapse of the trampoline, and what do? The essence has you. She goes, girl, I got you. I got to roll up my sleeves and help you out because you are fantastic and I want everyone to see it. So that's our girl essence of Trissom.
Okay.
Chef's kiss, love her to pieces. And then I always say the Night Wonder Concentrate, which is a glycolic acid base. Don't worry. It doesn't make you tingle. It doesn't wind up in your hips because glycolic acid is a natural derivative of sugarcane. It's a great exfoliator. And it's like your little Cinderella of overnight sleep success. As you put it on like a toner, wait 30 seconds, follow your favorite serum or your favorite cream, whatever it is. And it's your little vacuum of skincare. Sucks out the dirt, the debris, the clogged pores. You don't have to choose between the wrinkles and the pimples. It clears it all up, gets rid of hypopigmentation, lines, all sorts of things. And again, you don't have to chuck out what you're using. And I love that for people because I really respect every dollar you spend. It's a dollar that you earned. And you got to get the most of whatever you're purchasing, and not just purchase for hope, but purchase for results.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm definitely going to be getting both of those because you have sold me. Because I'm like,
Thanks.
hydration, lack of wrinkle depth. I'm like, melasma, hyperpigmentation. I'm like, that's you're speaking my language. So
Yeah. And my biggest thing is everyone goes, is it too late for me? No. It's never too early and never too late with Elizabeth Grant Skincare. Repaired my grandmother's skin from bomb blast damage. My mom, who's my grandmother's daughter-in-law, she's 73. She was also the avid sun worshiper in South Africa. Baby oil, no SPF, tinfoil. She was our original cheetah spots. She was our original before and afters for hypopigmentation. So I say I can fix all of this, but I can also proudly say I can fix all of this as well.
yeah, exactly. The more important, the heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, it has been so lovely to talk to you and get to hear your grandmother's story all about Elizabeth Grant Skincare. I think it sounds just like not only do you guys have products that work, but the heart behind it, the mission behind it is what makes it even more special. Having a product that works is great, but if you don't
Yeah.
have the kind of like heart behind it, it just doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah, it falls flat. And we're proudly 3 generations of women. And out of 150 employees, 85% of our staff are women. Out of those 85% are over the age of 50. And our head of research and development of chemistry, our person who helps make all our formulations, is a woman over the age of 50. I love that we come from a place of us versus a place of this is what you should look like at this age. Stop.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to link to all of y'all's information so people can easily find you. I want to invite our listeners, if they haven't already, hit the follow button, do that now. That way they can stay in the loop every week when we release a new episode. And you can follow us on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Estrogen Dropouts. You can watch the full videos and see our faces if you like. So we will see you guys next week. And thank you again, Margot.
Thank you so much. And everyone, keep being your amazing selves.
We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.